Imagine hearing the bombing every single second and not being able to sleep for a single minute during the entire night.
This show is brought to you by IslamicMusicHub.com, Nasheed reviews, prayer maps, and more.
Hello everyone, this is Anwar, a father, a son, and a husband. Today, I'm telling you my story before the war, during the war, and after the war. Before the war, I was an English language teacher for students in the 7th grade and also a university supervisor for students in university. All of this is gone now. It's long gone. The entire structure of Gaza Strip is destroyed. The entire structure of the educational system has fallen down. For the war, like any other one in this world, we had a lovely routine. Typical day might start by me, Anwar, going to school to do my work, to teach my students, to see my lovely students, to say good morning students, and they say good morning Mr. Anwar. After that, I go to work. I go home, to see my wife, who prepares lunch for me as usual every day. And after that, I get a nap. After the nap, I do some work. Then we can go out to a nice place, to a nice restaurant, to have a nice dinner. But now, everything changed. Stories are many, and each one has his own story. Suffering has many kinds, and each one of us tasted a different kind of suffering. I'm gonna tell you the story of a Palestinian living in Gaza during the war. Imagine hearing the bombing every single second and not being able to sleep for a single minute during the entire night. Imagine covering your baby's ears in order to prevent him from hearing the sounds of bombing and clashes everywhere. Imagine compensating your wife, your family, your children, and telling them that everything is gonna be okay, even though knowing that nothing is going to be okay. Imagine fleeing from your home and going to another place, fleeing from one place to another place, seeking for safety, but safety isn't there. Imagine going back to your apartment, to your home, to find out that it's entirely destroyed. October the 7th. I can still remember the first moments of this date. I remember waking up at around 5:30, having my morning shower, praying Al-Fajr, then having breakfast with my wife. After that, I still remember making my morning coffee. I was drinking a cup of coffee on the porch of my apartment at around 6:30 exactly, and waiting for my driver to take me to work. Then suddenly everything started. We saw rockets going up from the earth. We heard explosions. I felt that something really, really bad happened. I didn't know what is it. I didn't know what happened. So I called my manager, my school manager. I told him, what should I do? Should I go to work or stay at home? He told me to tell others, everyone, you must stay home. No one gets out until we figure what this is all about. So then the news came. We saw, after almost like half an hour or 1 hour, videos and documentations of what happened started coming up, and we know exactly what happened. I live in a family of 9, including me. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and my mom and dad. We all had our nice life in Khan Yunis refugee camp. When the war started, we had to gather up and to move together from one place to another. At first, when the military operation started in Khan Yunis refugee camp, we had to move from Khan Yunis to another place in Khan Yunis. Then we had to flee to Rafah, the place we are currently living. I have a sister who is married and has 3 daughters, and I have another sister who is married and have a son, and another sister who is currently pregnant with a girl. We now live here in Rafah and waiting for a ceasefire in order to go back to our camp. We know that our house was destroyed, but we will try to manage life, or we'll try to evacuate out of Gaza and seek for another place with peace, a place that we can start from zero. Let me tell you about the life conditions here in Rafah. Living in Rafah for the past 3 months has been really, really difficult. Food is in shortage. Water is in shortage. Everything is in shortage. Nothing as it used to be in the past. We had to wait long turns, long rows in order to get bread, in order to fill water, in order to go to the toilet. You have to wait in rows in order to do anything here. In Rafah, 1.5 million civilians living in a place that fits only for 200,000 civilians. Imagine 1.5 million living this spot. The sewage are in the streets. The apartments are filled with people. In any apartment that you find, at least there are more than 40 to 50 human beings living in one apartment. And let me tell you about the tents. When we talk about the tents, the situation is miserable. The life conditions doesn't fit for normal humans. Normal human beings aren't created to live this life. Imagine that the entire family of 15 to 20 members are living in one tent. The brothers, the sisters, their husbands, their daughters, their sons, their relatives living in one tent. This place has their own, has the kitchen. It's the bedroom itself. It's the living room. It's the hall. It's the yard. It's everything in just one tent. And the tent, don't think that it's big. The tent is like 4 multi 6. So this is a part of the hard conditions that people live here in Rafah refugee camp.
Assalamu alaikum, it's Faisal from Islamic Music Hub. It's really good to hear from an English teacher, hearing from people from different professions throughout this series, and what he had to say was really important. I've had a look at his GoFundMe page. He's got images there of his 9-month-old child that he talked about. He's got pictures of the tents and his flat, which was destroyed. Remember, he lived in a refugee camp before this already, and now he's had to move again. And he talks on there about having to live in a tent that's meant to be for 3 people, but he's got his whole family of 9. His mum, dad, brothers, sisters, everyone in that tent. So all I can say is it's the month of Ramadan. Please donate. The link to the GoFundMe page will be in the description. It'll be on my website as well. And I had a message from somebody earlier today who said they would do a story, but they've said they don't want to do a story anymore. They've given up hope. No one's donating to them, and they just can't see any point doing it. And that's the reality, that these people are desperate and they're really struggling and they're giving up hope. So if you can donate just £2, that might be enough just to give that little bit of hope to these individuals for them to carry on and not give up. Assalamu alaikum.
This recording was brought to you by IslamicMusicHub.com.